Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to our podcast. And I'm Howie Horrocks. My partner over there is Mark Dilatush. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, Howie, I'm doing good. We just, I finished my arc and we've collected about half of the creatures.
Oh, yes, the big storm. Yeah.
Yes. And, it's actually, we have a skylight here in the office and the sun is peering out. So I think there is,
Ooh.
Yes, there is some hope.
No, it's probably not a light at the end of the tunnel. It's probably more doom and gloom coming.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. Thanks a lot. So
anyway,
what are we doing today? We're going to do.
I thought one thing we could look at is how is a dental practice perceived, or how is your dental practice perceived by the public?
Oh, that's a scary subject, Howie.
Yeah,
we don't want to actually know that information, do we?
Oh, maybe not.
Isn't that too scary for our audience?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Well, no, it's a great subject. Who are you? And I'm saying that to the audience. Who are you? Who are you to the person at the grocery store that's not your patient? Who are you to the people in the community that don't already utilize your dental practice? What do they think about you? Do they know anything about you? And if they do know anything about you, what is that perception? Because what's that? It's perception is reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in no place in the world is that more pronounced than in marketing. And certainly it's clear in dental marketing. I mean, nobody really wants to go to the dentist anyway. So immediately you're perceived as something I don't want to go do.
Right.
So now you have to take that and you have to say, okay, out of all the things that I don't want to do, what are some good reasons for me to go do what I don't want to go do? Or what are some bad reasons to keep me from doing what I don't want to go do? Okay. Really? I mean, this is perception, right? Okay. Now we're dealing mostly with females, the bearers and nurturers of children and families, and they all have, they have a higher perception, of dentistry. I mean, dentistry is a healthcare provider that takes care of my family. That's more of a good thing than a bad thing, right? So maybe with moms or females, you're at least at 50-50. But how do they perceive you? What are you spending your money on when you're advertising, and what message is going out there, and at what cost? Is the perception that you're building right now something that will cost you dearly down the road? Let me give you an example. Here's a classic example. I had a mini argument with a dentist. It wasn't even an argument, really. It was, I'm going to go send a whole bunch of postcards out. I'm going to put a couple deals on it. And there was some conversation about what the deal should be. And I think I said what you always say, Howie. I said, if your offer is your best foot forward, you have no feet.
Yeah, right.
And if you're using a postcard, you can't promote your office. The only thing you have room for really is a mail panel and a picture of Donald Duck or Goofy and a call out to a new patient exam special that you're running this month. So, but beyond that, beyond what you should and shouldn't do, what's the perception you're creating in the marketplace? Is the perception that you're advertising the perception you ultimately want? When you put it in that framework, most dentists, not all, but most dentists would say, yeah, I'm not sure I want to be known as the shopper. I don't want to be known as the cheap dentist in town. I think right now I'm really emotionally tied to having a full schedule, but ultimately I really don't want to be known as the cheap dentist in town, because you know what? There's a whole bunch of corporate facilities in my town that have already claimed that spot.
Yeah. Right. That's quite true. And you know, dentists are often very concerned about, what should the offer be? Well, really, that's not even the real point. The point is, should you even be making one? And what kind of perception are you going to create of yourself when you do that?
Right.
And there's certain mediums like postcards that just almost force you into making offers and doing financial incentives. And it's just endemic to the medium itself. So you might want to think about, even what that does to your perception in the public is even using a medium like that.
Yeah, the top half of the dental market, the moms who won't choose a healthcare provider based primarily on price, are hard enough to get without spending 5 or 6 years convincing them that you're the cheap dentist in town.
Yeah.
Because eventually 6 or 7 years from now, you're going to have to unteach them. And that unteaching or that rebranding of your practice, if you think postcards are expensive, wait till you try to rebrand a perception.
Yeah.
Okay. That is incredibly difficult. You can ask BP. They had that big oil spill in the Gulf. They've been spending millions ever since.
Yeah.
Okay. So be careful. Be cognizant of what the perception is of the local consumer. It's okay if you have a trifold or you have a postcard that has an offer. It's okay. Okay. Just don't let that be the only thing they know about you. That's our point. Okay. Make sure they understand a mix about you. Some of the services you offer, maybe some of the conveniences you have, maybe some technology you have in the office that they may not know about. Trust me, there's the depth of what the dental consumer doesn't know about is the Grand Canyon times 5. They don't know anything about dentistry.
Right.
So, but if you're going to have an offer, if you're going to try and use an offer to kick more people off over the fence toward your practice, okay, but don't make that really the only thing they understand about you, or don't make it the most prominent thing that they understand about you, right? That's always been our point. I mean, we do, I don't know, I would say probably 70% of our websites or our mailers or whatever, I think probably 70 or 80% of those have some kind of an offer on them. Even if it's for a complimentary second opinion, it's still like kind of an offer, right? Right. But it's certainly not the draw. It's not the primary design element. As a matter of fact, we purposely bury them so that the consumers can barely find them. And it's always amazing to us at the end of the campaign year when we're reviewing numbers, the doctors say, I think we got to fix our offer because nobody's asking for it.
Yeah.
And we just laugh, right? Say, well, you're seeing patients, aren't you? Yeah. They're good patients for the most part, right? Yep. They're good patients. I said, okay, don't worry about your offer. Yeah. That's the whole idea. The whole idea is to get them to choose you for some other educational reason besides your offer.
Yeah, we often, in fact, tell them, watch for that happening. Pretty soon people stop asking for the whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's a sign we can take it off.
Right, right.
But for the initial startup, it's often helpful to have an offer just to get the phone to ring,
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance, but you use the balance to your favor so as not to have the market perceive you as predominantly the cheapest dentist in town. Okay. So don't we have to go on a commercial break here, Howie?
Oh, yes, we do. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Are you enjoying our podcast? Would you like to learn more about marketing your practice? Then download our free book, Unlimited New Patients Volume 3, from www.dentalwebcontent.com. It's under the Resources tab. Truly understand the hidden mind of the dental consumer, reach them more effectively, and learn how to attract more than your fair share of the right new patients. We used to sell this for $167. We are now offering it to you for free. So check it out. Once again, it's located at www.dentalwebcontent.com under the Resources tab. Okay, we're back.
All right. So what are some of the other avenues? Another way you can unknowingly create a misperception about your practice is when you over promote a single service too much. And when a single service is too much of your marketing budget, or the number of impressions hitting the street are not in balance with the rest of the reasons to choose you. Classic example, about 10, 12 years ago, there was a sedation dentistry craze and sort of like bell-bottom jeans, but only for dentistry. So, dentists everywhere had radio ads running just endlessly. Sedation, sedation, we'll put you to sleep, we'll put you to sleep. And pretty soon their markets, because they did it so much and because they poured so much money into those ads for such a long time, their local market believed that you almost had to get knocked out in order to go there for dental services.
Right.
Okay.
And a surprisingly large percentage of people don't want to be knocked out.
Right. Yeah. Especially women.
They're afraid of that. More than they are of the needle.
Right. Exactly. Especially women, especially with male dentists. Right. So,
duh. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people listening to this probably just had the protons and neurons arc in their head, and they said, "Oh, crap! Yeah, I remember those days. I remember when we were doing a lot of sedation cases, but then I remember the really slow times after that." Okay.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. I mean, we love sedation as an offering, as an arrow in your quiver, so to speak. It's great.
Right.
But what we're talking about here is what Mark said: over promoting it, making it so that people think that's all you do.
Yeah, it can't just be your whole quiver. Okay, you gotta have more stuff in there, right? So, and it's great for that are websites, because websites, I mean, let's face it, they're not endless content, but for the most part, it's kind of endless content. I mean, you can go too crazy with a website, but a website is a great avenue to list out all the reasons to choose you, and help that perception. If you're, another thing that people do is they do too much niche marketing on Google Ads, or they do too much niche marketing on Facebook PPI campaigns. I mean, we do these campaigns. This is, but here's my point. You have to balance them with promotion that promotes all of the main reasons to choose you to the same consumer. Like, you would not want to sit here for the next 12 years only promoting Invisalign to your local market. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of people who want straight teeth. Okay. Yeah. And trust me, it's going to happen before 12 years is up. Okay. Yeah. But you're going to keep paying that money for that advertising, hoping beyond hope that you get the original results you did maybe in the first 3 months that you started advertising. In other words, everything has a bell curve, right? So be very, very, very careful to balance the message out that you're putting out there to the general public, because that's the perception that you're building in their mind. It's not just about paying money, putting advertising out on the street, hoping the phone rings and hoping Mary at your office is there to handle the call and answers it properly. It's not just about that. It's about the entire message. It's also about your future. I mean, we probably joked around a little bit too much about, pigeonholing yourself when you're first opening a practice or first take over a practice. Your money is not abundant and you have to cut corners. So you do postcard campaigns. Maybe you do an every door direct mail postcard campaign and you just basically carpet bomb the entire area with, hey, I'm here and I'm a cheap dentist. And you keep doing that for years because the phone will ring. There's just no doubt the phone will ring. Okay. But if you keep doing it and doing it, you're hitting those same households that eventually you're going to want to hit with the services, amenities, technologies, and conveniences that you do, because you don't want to promote to those moms as the cheap dentist in town. They will never respond to you. So you don't want to alienate those while you're trying to build your practice. In most cases, what we're talking about here is targeting. You can target on Facebook, you can target on mail. We're just saying be very careful with how you do this. Because we're actually getting a lot of these rebranding jobs now. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Hi, my name's Dr. Bob. Yeah, I've been doing, I'm out here in, I don't know, San Antonio, Texas, and started my practice 5 years ago. I've been doing postcards with deals on them. And, the conversation continues, on and on and on. And I got, 5 or 6 insurances. We're getting pretty busy now, producing 600 a year and kind of hitting a flat line, the usual story. And, once I determined the back door's not wide open, I'm like, well, then now you got to focus your advertising dollar on quality, not quantity. But now I have to have a conversation with this dentist that basically says, and you've been working against me for the last 5 years. You've been working against yourself for the last 5 years. The perception in that entire market is that you're the cheap local dentist. And it's going to cost you 3 times what you saved by doing those postcards to get out of that hole. I'm not saying you can't, because we do it all the time. I'm just saying be careful what the consumer perceives about you, and take into consideration down the road what type of a practice you're trying to build.
Yeah, it's terribly, terribly difficult to dislodge a first impression. Once that forms in mom's mind that you're the dentist over here, X, no, it's really hard to get that perception changed.
You
later.
Almost kind of have to change the name of the practice at that point,
Yeah.
Right? It was Bob's Dental. Now it's Jim's Dental.
Yeah.
Right? And Jim doesn't have any offers, and he talks about the services and conveniences, technology.
And now he has a mustache too.
And now he has a mustache, and his wife and kids look exactly the same. It's amazing. So, anyway, we're trying to get everybody to think beyond this month. Think beyond next month. Think beyond even this year. Where do you want to be 5, 6, 8 years from now? And tailor your marketing accordingly. Where there, sometimes what's the old saying, the tripping over pennies to find the trees or something, I forget. Tripping
over dollars.
Yeah, that's it. Tripping over dollars to find a penny. And I'm sitting here shaking my head, having all these conversations going, no, why didn't you call us 5 years ago? Oh my God, but I understand. The abundance of marketing dollars pushes people in a certain direction. I get it. I'm not, but just understand what you're doing. If you go into it with your eyes wide open, then you're doing it to yourself knowingly. It's not a surprise, and you're going to be prepared for digging yourself out when the time comes. That's all. Yeah. Same thing with niching yourself with these single, like implants or Invisalign or whatever sedation, whatever you're promoting singly. either through PPC or Facebook PPI campaigns, please make sure you do so in a balance. Something has to be communicating to the community about your whole practice while you're doing these other singular projects. Okay? Don't just do singular projects unless you have a rotation of 7 or 8 of them. And if you're getting enough new patients from 7 or 8 singular projects in a PPC or PPI campaign, God bless you. Because call me, because I've never met you.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, the overriding theme for today was, who are you? And we really like you to consider what the message is that you're delivering, whether it's in website, mail, PPC, your ad, your Facebook ad, whatever. Who are you? And what is that impression, or what is that perception going to build toward in the future? Is it going to build your practice toward where you want it to go, or is it going to build away from where you want it to go? That's all we're asking you to do.
Yeah. Well, I think that probably wraps this one up for today.
Oh, that was a fun one, Howie.
Well, yeah.
Somebody must have had an in-depth question. That was good. Because I get those questions. I get them all the time. You know, we're stuck, we're flat, we're stuck, we're flat, you know, and that's what happens when you focus on the bottom half of the dental market, and you do so relentlessly for a period of time greater than, let's say, 28 to 31 months in an average U.S. market. I guarantee you're going to flatten. I can tell you now, before you even open your practice, you're going to flatten. Okay. So don't be surprised and call me and tell me, hey, Mark, I can't believe it, I flattened my practice. Well, no, yeah, you are. You're going to. Okay. It's an inevitability. Just know that going in, and maybe some of you will plan around it, and that would be great, because that's really what you need to do, is have a nice mix. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we look forward to being back with you again soon. Goodbye. We hope you've enjoyed our podcast today. You can find more podcasts on our YouTube channel, on Stitcher, and iTunes. Also on our websites, dentalwebcontent.com and newpatientsinc.com.